Hi everyone, I'm Jo and welcome to a new tutorial. I'm really quite excited about this one because at the time of filming this, these shaped beads are fairly new still in the UK. So let me show you what we're going to be making. It's this beautiful, I've called it Moroccan tiles, and it's using a couple of shaped beads here actually, 3 of them. Running through the center, the round one, we've got DiscDuos, which I've used before. Then either side, still the gold beads, we've got a new shape called a Ginko bead. And then framing those on either side, we've got Chevron duos. So this is really exciting to be sharing this with you, and I'm going to show you how to make a small portion of this. It's really repetitive, so to make the whole bracelet you just continue the whole way around, and let's see how easy it is. So bead wise, to make this cuff bracelet, the Moroccan tiles, I've got some standard Miyuki seed beads here. I've got some size 8s and some size 11s. Then I've got the DiscDuos, here they are, the round ones, the Chevron duos, and these ones here, they're the Ginko beads. So in the bracelet here you can see them quite clearly. The DiscDuos running through the center, the Ginkos either side, and the Chevron duos right on the outside. I've popped the shapes onto a needle just to show you where the drill hole is, so you can see which way you would need to thread them on. There's no hole running horizontally, they are all vertical there. So let's get started. Onto a size 10 beading needle, you're going to thread on some 6-pound file line, and I would say 2.5 to 3 meters of your file line is perfect for this whole project. And I'm going to start by adding on a stopper bead. I'm just using a random bead, nothing to do with the design. Move it down towards the tail end of your thread, pass the needle back up through the stopper bead, and you're ready to get going. Now, the best way to make sure you're going through the correct holes in these double drilled beads is to lay them out so that you can see what your pattern is going to be. So my pattern is a Chevron duo with a Ginko sitting there, and then I have a disc duo and another Ginko and a Chevron bead, and when I come back beading the other way, I'm going to add in the next disc duo. Right, so I'm just going to move those out the way for now. So I'm coming up through the left hand hole of the Chevron and the left hand hole of the Ginko, and then I'm coming up through my disc duo, which I can move to the side that I want it on, so I'm going to want it that way. Then I need to come up, the Ginko's the other way around, through that Ginko and through the next Chevron duo. So that's exactly how my pattern was looking to begin with. Now I'm going to let those drop down to my stopper bead, and if I need to flip them around again I will. But there I have my first little section. Now my bracelet is basically made up of that all the way along, and I need to know how to connect all those bits together. So to come round the top of my chevron, I'm going to pick up 2 11s, an 8 and 2 11s, and I'm going to come down through the empty hole of the chevron, or the hole on the right and the hole on the right of the Ginko bead. And I'm going to try and keep it on the mat because it's quite a lot to hold in place, and this way you'll be able to see exactly what I'm doing. So if I just pull my threads through, you'll see how those little seed beads have just formed a little cap on top of the chevron there. Right, so I've got a gap here. I need to pick up a disc duo, and I'm going to come through the right hand hole of the Ginko on the bottom and through the chevron bead. And when I pull that through, you'll see I've got my first little section already. Right, we're now beading off in this direction, and I need to link a chevron to another chevron, and I'm going to do that by picking up just 111, 18 and 111, and I'm going to go through the left hand hole of the next chevron, and you'll see how that pulls those two in line side by side. Right, I need my next Ginko bead, and I'm coming through the left hand hole. I've already got a DiscDuo there, so I'm going to connect that up. It's got an empty hole that hasn't been used. And when you pull your threads through, you can see how it all starts to sit in place. Next Ginko, make sure it's the right way, and I'm going through the left hand side, and there I can see how my pattern, my Moroccan tiles, are beginning to form. I'm going through the left hand hole of the chevron, making sure I've got everything facing the right way, and now I need to do my next little edge, or my little cap to the chevron, which is 2 11s, 1 8 and 2 11s. And that really is all there is to it. You're just beading the entire way along. So I'm going to come back through the empty hole in the chevron, the second hole of the Ginko, pull my needle through, just to adjust the beads with your fingers. I need to add in another DiscDuo, and I'm just connecting up the second holes. So let's bring this one back in, and you can see that's exactly what I've done the whole way along. Now we've got the top edge here, we've still got to do that along the bottom, and we've got the connecting here between the two chevrons, which we don't have along the top. So once you've beaded a full strip, the length that you require for your bracelet, as I always say, remember to allow for the width of your clasp, because that adds on about another inch to your beading. Then you've finished with a DiscDuo here. It's time to work back towards the stopper bead, filling in the bits that you haven't done. So we need an edge on this chevron here. So I'm going to pick up 2 11s, 1 8, 2 11s. And I'm just going to turn this now, because it's the only way I can make sure I'm going through all the beads. So I've gone through the chevron, through the Ginko, through the DiscDuo, through the Ginko, and up through the chevron at the top, but I don't want to go through those seed beads, so I can turn that back to you now. I've passed through all those beads. Get my tail out the way there. And you can see that I've formed the same edge that I had on the top, I've now got along the base. Now I need to connect these two chevron beads together, because at the base they connected, but at the top they're apart. So to do that, it's just 1 11, 1 8, 1 11, and I'm coming back down through the other side. And again, I'm going to turn it, or I'm actually going to pick it up so that I can get through. Make sure you go through all the beads. If you don't go through the beads, you're going to land up seeing your thread coming through on the other side. So I'm going to pull my needle through. It's just connecting up all those edges. So I've now got the two edges over the chevrons, and I've got the little connection across between the two there. I've got one edge, I've got a connection, and I need to do one more edge now. So that's 2 11s, 1 8 and 2 11s. And again, you're going to bead up. I'm just going to move that stopper bead out the way, making sure that you go through each bead. If you can't go through them all at one time, do them individually just to make sure that you are getting through each one. All right, and I'm going to pull my needle through there. Move that out the way. And you can see how the Moroccan tile pattern has come together. What I would suggest you doing as you're coming back, filling in the gaps. So on the bottom edge, you're filling in the edges around the chevrons, and along the top, you're linking the two chevrons together. Just keep pressing your design into your mat, and that just keeps things flat so that you don't get anything curling up or bunching up at the end. So you just keep pressing it all flat, and you've got this beautifully, it's actually really tactile to wear as well, incredibly comfortable. And all I've done on the ends, as you can see, is I've come through those 11s that formed the edge around the chevrons, and I've just used some of the 8s to add on a toggle clasp. You can bead your own clasp if you want to, and I've done exactly the same on this side. So come out through the 11s on the outer edge and just added 8s in to form my toggle. I hope you'll give the new shapes a go. I've certainly had a lot of fun with them. In fact, I've already got another design with the Ginkos ready to go, but I'll have to save that for another time. Thanks for watching. Bye bye for now.